when I got on the mic, I was like, yeah! They were like, wow. Like, he really sounds like that.
Did y'all feel that? Because everybody in the studio went like this. It was like a different person showed up. I'm so excited I'm about to put on my shades because we're about to get crunk. We're about to have the best time. We're talking about a song that is one of the ultimate hip-hop party songs of all time.
And today we're going to answer the question, did punk and hip-hop have a baby in Atlanta, and is that baby crunk?
Wow.
To help us answer this, we have a very special guest, the man behind the track that brought crunk to the top of the pop charts.
I'm like jumping out of my chair right now. We're not talking 10 songs, not talking 20 songs, we're not talking 50, 11 songs. We talk about one song, and that song is Get Low with the one, the only godfather of crunk, Lil Jon.
All right, first thing is the window is this fucking way, guys.
Oh, yeah, you're right. But the wall's also this way.
Window
Okay.
to the wall.
That's the right direction.
It's always
okay.
to the left,
Yep.
to the right.
Okay.
So, right. Well, depending on where you're standing.
I thought you literally just trying to find the closest thing to the window. I'm actor, writer, director, and sometimes DJ Diallo Riddle.
And I'm producer, DJ, songwriter, and musicologist Luxury, aka the guy who whispers,
interpolation.
And this is One Song.
The show where we break down the stems and stories behind iconic songs across genres, tell you why they deserve one more listen, sometimes with the originator of that song in the room with us, just like today.
You will hear these songs like you've never heard them before.
And if you want to watch One Song, you can watch this full episode on YouTube and Spotify. And while you're there, please like and subscribe.
You may know our guests from a slew of hip-hop, pop, EDM, reggaeton, bangers of every genre. I'm talking goodies. Turn down for what?
Turn down for what?
Yeah. Shots. Tell me when to go.
Tell me when to go. Tell me when to go. Tell me when to go. Tell me when to go.
Freakily. This guy knows no musical bounds. He's collaborated with everyone from E40 to Britney Spears, from Usher to Steve Aoki. But in fact, the only thing you can hold against this artist is that he attended Douglas High School instead of my alma mater, Benjamin E. Mays High School. Give it up for Grammy Award-winning super producer Lil Jon.
Yeah.
Lil Jon's in the building today.
Hey. Go Astros.
I had to get you.
Go Astros.
Mays High Raiders for life. What's up, man?
So glad to have you on the show. And
Yes.
say thank you, by the way. Crazy story of my life is that I'm walking down the street in Hollywood and a gentleman comes up to me and says, "Excuse me, aren't you Luxury?"
Right.
And it was you. And I couldn't believe it was you. In fact, I had to walk across the street after we talked and I was like, wait, was that him? Like I was really
You were
standing
looking
there.
at me like
I
that.
was
You were
like-
looking at me like.
Because you said your name was John, and I
Right.
was like, and then you go, some people call me Lil Jon. And I
He
was
literally
like,
texted me like,
Yeah.
I think I met Lil Jon.
Lil Jon. Because you didn't have the grill, you were just like a guy on the street.
Yeah,
you were
I
in
was,
Los
I was
Angeles.
going to the Mac store.
You're going to the Mac store. You were fixing your computer.
Yeah, I was, man.
Can I just say real quick, people who listen to the show know I'm from Atlanta. Atlanta means a lot to me. We grew up in the same part of Atlanta.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Like I lived on Rebecca Drive off of Lyndhurst, and my grocery store
Lyndhurst.
was the Winn-Dixie on MLK.
I used
know what I'm saying?
So I grew up on Flamingo Drive off of Benjamin Mays.
I know Flamingo. I used to have a friend on Flamingo. Absolutely.
Wow.
It's a small, tight-knit, sort of middle-class
Yeah.
Black community. And especially growing up then, we had a lot of pride in the fact of growing up in the SWATs, as it was called back then.
One thing I think people should know about where we grew up too, we saw Black excellence on a daily. We saw the neighbors. I mean, we saw the mayor's kids. We saw city councilmen. We
Marvin
went to
Arrington
schools.
lived down the street.
So we saw that we could be great.
Yes.
We had positive influences in our
Everywhere.
lives.
I have so many questions, and we're going to get to hopefully a lot of them, because you were a DJ in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I can still remember, I think the first time I knew of you as an artist, I was on Morehouse's campus, and I heard Who You With.
Oh.
And the weather was like perfect, and Who You With came on, and everybody went nuts. And I was just like, what is this song? In fact, I felt like you figured out very early on with Who You With, like, this the style of music that was just missing, but in some ways encapsulated what it was to be young and energetic in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Like,
wow.
for
That's
real.
a perfect observation because what's crazy about Who You With, it was the first song I ever recorded as an artist and it was a hit. Not many people can say the first time you go in the studio as an artist, you get a hit record.
Yeah.
And what we did, me and the East Side Boys with that song was we wanted to create a song that got people in Atlanta turned up, crunk. That's exactly what we wanted to do. Because it was, we were getting turned up to all these people's songs from all over the place in Atlanta, but it was nothing strictly designed for us.
For us.
Like that.
We're going to play a clip of Who You With. Here's Who You With.
Who you with? Who you with? Get crunk. Who you with? To the flow. 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 Let's go. Let's go. To the flow. To the flow.
Couple things.
Yes.
I don't know if people really paid attention to this, but most Lil Jon East Side Boys songs are visual. Like, we paint a picture, like, to the flow.
Yeah.
Like, get your ass to the dance floor.
Yeah.
Get them up.
Get 'em up.
We're giving instructions.
Yeah, directives.
That's how we wrote the songs. Like, from that song all the way to Get Low.
Yeah, you're telling people what to do.
Let me see you get low, girls. Put that ass to the floor. We actually, it's visual. You can see it.
Yeah.
And some people might think that song sounds familiar, but you don't know it. And that's because Duro used the same. He did an interpolation of the beat.
Yes, of course.
For Ice Cream Paint Job.
Yes. Holy wow.
Ride good. Lean back, right hand on the pine wood. Cream on the inside, clean on the outside. Cream on the inside, clean on the outside.
Did he sample you or did he just use it?
I heard the story was he used the beat on a mixtape and did the song to it on my beat to the mixtape. And then I guess he got signed and he had to, they decided to just do it over.
And it's important to point out that you were DJing already for a number of years at this point. And as a DJ, you get the immediate response and you have such a your brain turns into like a learning machine for like what works, what's effective.
Right.
And it's on the energy level. It's on the energy level more than it is the chords and notes and melodies and lyrics. It's like, what did I do? Like what beat or what sounds are effective.
Yeah.
So is that when you went in the studio to make for the first time? Was that in your mind? Like, okay, I'm going to do what works.
I think that's my secret sauce as a producer. Being a DJ gives me an extra gear that other people don't have because they don't see things the way I see it because I'm always trying to make a record, a song that DJs are going to love to play. Like the go-to record to rock a party. That's why all of my records are club records because I'm a DJ. Because
you've been DJing and you've been reverse engineering. You're like, oh, that beat, oh, that hi-hat sound, that clap sound.
Right. So this is gonna slap you like this, or this the kick has got to hit hard.
How did
the
you
weight's got to be right.
How did you put that together with just like literally to make it? What production did you get your first? Like I don't know if Triton would have been around, but like did you get your first 808? Like how are you starting to make it to translate your DJ knowledge into making stuff?
So I was working with this guy named Paul Lewis. It was me and him producing together. Our production company was called Dynamic Duo. And our first hit record that we got that was big, that actually went number one in New York was Capleton Tour, the remix. So we did that. And
the artist Capleton.
Huh? Yes.
Is that the reggae? Reggae? Yeah.
The one with the slick Rick beats.
Yeah.
So
let's play a little snippet of that.
We produced that in Atlanta, but we didn't make the beat, but we told the guy what to chop and how we wanted it and what to sample. And after that, we bought our own 3000. And I started to learn how to use the 3000.
Okay.
Yes. I'm still on MPCs.
Okay.
I want to play a little bit of it. Wait a second.
That children's story?
No, it's deeper than that. Hold on. So this is the Dynamic Duo remix of Tour by Capleton. You produced this.
In Atlanta.
I have played this song so many times. I did not know this
Dynamic
was you.
Duo is you.
I did not know this was you, bro. Listen. I think that's why we're so excited about this episode. Get Low is like the first of a massive string of hits in the mid-2000s. I've already named some, Freak a Leak, Salt Shaker, Goodies. But you're not just the dude on these tracks. You're producing so many hits. And when we were researching this episode, I just kept saying, he did that? He did that? Like, I'm just gonna go ahead and ask you right now. Do you feel like you get enough credit? Like I feel like we're music nerds. We're
No.
music nerds. There's your answer.
Because so, like you just said, wow, I didn't know you did that.
Yeah.
Like when I did Versus with me and T-Pain,
Which is
everybody-
great. That is like
people
one of the
thought,
best things about
T-Pain
COVID.
is gonna smoke Lil Jon, and I went on there and did what I had to do. And when tour played, I saw like DJ Scratch, who's a hip hop head,
Yes.
was like, he ain't do that. Let me fact check. And in real time in the comments, he was like, he did do that. Like, so that's the early 90s. That's 95 or
Bruh.
something.
So many parties.
And
I
this
have
is
spun this
around the
record.
time of Who You With. We did Who You With after this. I think we did that first. Yeah, because we didn't use the drum machine on it. We just told the guy what to do. And then 95, we did Who You With, and it came out 96. And even songs that I didn't necessarily do the beat for, I co-produced.
Yes.
Like My Boo.
Let's talk about My Boo. It comes out on this So Def Bass All-Stars compilation that I think anybody with a car and a CD player owned at some point, like we all did. And by the way, can I just say, Volume 1 has other classics on it. It's got What's Up, What's Up by Playa Poncho.
Yeah.
What it is, what it ain't, what it gon' be, what's up, now say it with me. What's up, what's up, what's up, what's up.
So many hits on this song, but of course, there's My Boo. And the thing about My Boo is that, you know, with the exception of maybe Come On Ride the Train or Whoop, There It Is, like, this is literally one of the biggest bass crossovers of all time.
I think it is because it came back. Remember, it just came back like 5 years ago.
It came back when TikTok decided that they're going to do a new dance called The Running Man.
Right.
And everybody was dancing to My Boo.
So that song is crazy because we listened to a lot of mixtapes in Atlanta.
Yes.
And it was the J Team, which is Edward J, DJ Smurf, Lady DJ, DJ Jelly. So these were the two big mixtape guys in Atlanta. And what they would do on certain mixtapes would take Miami-based beats and put like New Edition Tell Me When I'll See You Smile Again over the bass beats.
Slow jams.
Slow jams over bass beats. So what I did was say, let's turn that into a song, a real song. And that's when I got with Carl Mo and my boy Rodney, Cool Collie, who was actually down with MC Shy D.
MC Shy D.
He was down with MC Shy D, so, and he worked at Def Jam, and he would just come to the office and hang out with me at Social Def, and we just talk.
If you've been living under a rock, this is a song called My Boo by Ghost Town DJs.
I've been watching at night, I think of you. I want to be your lady, baby.
I used to yeek it up to that song, you know. I once again, this is the hill I'm going to die on. You guys are trying to make yeet a thing. Yeek is and will always be. Did you ever used to yeek it up?
I could not yeek.
You couldn't yeek.
But I used to make tapes for the dancers.
Even I could yeek.
I couldn't
John.
yeek. I mean, I could yeek a little bit, but I wasn't like doing all of the...
No, you had to do the yeek.
Yeah, I could do that. I could do
You had
that.
to
Yeah. The simple parts of the yeek.
It wasn't simple for all of us. Some of us had to practice that. And I mean, to your earlier point, think about all the dances that we had back then. We had the Bankhead Bounce. We had Yeek. We had Ragtop. You know, we had my boy Tori. You could Ragtop with the best of them. He was Ragtop, don't you stop. Ragtop, don't you stop. Like, I feel like there was so much culture coming out of Atlanta. And you were working as an A&R at So Def on this album, pulling it together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that the reason why you weren't able to claim more credit for these songs? Is it because you were an A&R?
Yeah, so with My Boo, I should have been listed as a producer, but this was my first project.
Yeah.
This is I don't know, I can, all of this is producing. It's my first thing, so
How'd
I don't
you
want
get
to
the job
overstep.
at So Def?
I was just always out. You know, if I wasn't DJing, I was always out, and I would run into Jermaine, and sometimes if he had a show with like Silk Times Leather or whoever, I go check, just say what up.
Mm-hmm.
And he came to me one day and he was like, I'm getting ready to start my label, and I just see you everywhere. I see you everywhere. He was like, I want you to be a part of my label. I want you to do A&R and street promotions. I was like, what the hell is an A&R? What is all that? 'Cause I don't know, you know.
He's like artist and repertoire.
Yeah, so he told me what was up, and then I came in 93. I started working for So Def in 93. I graduated high school 89, so 90, 91, DJing, Then I got to my top of DJing 91, 92, 93, and I stepped away to go work at So Def.
You mentioned a moment ago, too, that you were A&R, and in retrospect, the line between A&R and producer, you now know what it is differently.
Right.
What is the line between A&R and producer? How would you explain that to people?
Well, I guess A&Rs kind of say, hey, I want you to go work with this guy.
Yeah.
And you leave it at that.
Okay.
You don't, and then they might send you the track later and you like, change this, change that.
You're not in
We're
the
good.
studio making decisions.
Yeah, I'm in there. I was in the studio from conception to mix, the final mix,
Absolutely.
everything.
That's way beyond A&R.
Yes, but I didn't know that. I thought I was just doing my job.
Nobody voluntarily gave you the extra credit or points that you might have deserved.
Well, I got points off the whole album, so
Okay.
I got paid regardless, because I did get my executive producer points
There you go.
on all of the So
That's
Def
okay.
Bass All-Stars. So that's got me
That's
my
good.
first
You got paid.
like Mercedes and BMWs and what else I got? A Suburban. Like,
'Cause
I
that's
got a little check.
Okay.
Got some
You're
check.
doing all right.
Well, it definitely worked out. I mean, like, you guys continue to put out these compilations. Volume 2 has one of my favorite bass songs, and it's another example of what you were saying about a ballad put over a bass beat. Let's listen to a little bit of Freak It by Lathan.
You want to talk about that interpolation?
That's one of the ones.
So Lathan sent demos to me at So Def.
Mhm.
He was an R&B singer.
Yes.
But I was like, he would sound dope on some bass. Me and Paul, dynamic duo, produced that beat. We used that, what's that, Lookout Weekend, the drum?
From Debbie Deb.
Oh, yeah, Debbie Deb.
That's the drums, right?
Yeah.
We originally had on Broadway, boom, boom,
George Benson.
boom, 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 boom.
That's what I'm hearing.
Boom, boom.
Same rhythm, yeah.
They were like, no. So we were like, okay, let's just cut the phrase.
Wow.
And that was good
Cut it
enough.
in half. The
They were cool. with it.
Doom. It's the Miami connection for that like kind of electro,
Right.
like planet rock into
It all goes back to
Kraftwerk
Planet Rock.
Right.
beat, right? The boom, boom beat is coming from, it's going from Kraftwerk to Miami, to Planet Rock to Miami, to
Debbie
you,
Deb.
to Debbie Deb. Oh, wow. There's 5 layers getting to
I'm
here.
thinking about it. It's insane. What the fuck were we thinking to use on Broadway on a bass song? Like, that's insane. Think about that.
Hey, George Benson, listen to Freak It by
George
Lathan.
Benson on Debbie Deb
That wouldn't have worked.
is insane.
The same way.
That is some
We
postmodern
played it over, though.
collaging.
We didn't sample him. We played it over. We
You
played the
re-
bass line. So that's my homie playing bass.
Don't.
But that is crazy. If you think about that now, nobody would,
Who would do that? Why would you?
But it works.
It
And
works.
it's still going. That song is still getting
Still goes
played
hard.
in the trail rides and all of
Well,
that.
City Girls and Usher sampled it.
Oh, yeah. That was a
2 years
shining
ago.
moment for me, too.
Absolutely.
Whenever you as an artist get sampled, it's like, wow, I made it. And I've been sampled so much, so I'm like, I really made it.
I've kind of made it.
I got one for you, since
Okay.
this is shows about sampling and interpolations. Go back to Who You With and just play the first 2 seconds.
Okay.
I'm going to point out something to everybody. Stop. That high has been in about 2,000 hip-hop songs. It started right there. I made that sound. I
You made
sampled
that sound?
Is that your
Is that the
voice? Pitched up?
I made that sample.
Okay.
I sampled it from something I'm not going to tell anybody
You don't
where
need to
because I
talk
don't want
about where
nobody
it
You
came
coming
don't want
after me.
anybody
Yeah.
coming for you?
But I sampled that and made that sound, and later somebody must have sampled it from that record and put it in like a producer
right.
pack that got passed around throughout the industry, and it's in probably 2,000.
Do you ever think that way? Like as a producer, I have to be careful about what I isolate, like what sound someone else can take from me in the same way that I've been taking these sounds.
No,
You don't worry about it too
I mean,
much.
I don't really sample. If you listen to most of my productions, I don't
Very
sample
true.
Get into that,
because I want
absolutely.
my fucking publishing.
Yeah.
I feel like that was how, because even Kanye and Just Blaze, they were still so sample driven, but you and Pharrell, like you guys were literally just creating these noises, and you got to keep so much more of the publishing.
Right.
You produced one of the biggest hits of the 2000s. Let's talk about it. This is Yeah.
Name that song in one note.
While we were playing that, you said that's one of those songs you
can
recognize in the first note.
Name that song in one note.
Let's play the first note.
Yeah.
That's technically 2 notes, but we know what that is.
Yeah,
We know
as soon as
that
they
is,
hit.
yeah. Usher becomes a massive star.
Yes.
Yeah wins a Grammy. This song takes your career to the next level. What is this moment like for you?
Surreal. Like, it's pretty crazy because I just go in the studio to have fun and just make records that DJs want to play and that's going to rock the party. And to now, like, all these years later, make it to the Super Bowl is insane.
You performed it at the Super Bowl.
Not to mention the DNC.
And
Come
not
on.
just that, it's like
Well, yeah.
I was musical director for the show, and then I got like 4 or 5 songs in the show, and I perform in the show with Usher, and I have my own spot.
Yeah.
It's like all these years of grinding and doing all this work and being in the clubs and networking and sending out. I remember sending out my vinyl myself, taking packages to the post office and being in Mix Show Power Summit or wherever and giving out vinyl and CDs and all of this hard work,
All the hustle.
calling the PDs at the radio station trying to get them to add my songs myself. All of this hard work has brought me to the Super Bowl and in a larger capacity than I ever could have dreamed of. Like, just being a part
peak
of
of
the
pop culture.
inner workings and putting it together. I'm still kind of mind blown by all of that. And it's literally getting to the top of the largest hill or mountain in the world. And it's just like looking down, looking back, like on the journey. You know, it's amazing.
Yeah, and Get Low, the song today, are, I think, safely to say in the genre of crunk. Other than geography, what do you see as the primary difference between crunk and hyphy?
Well, it's a feeling. Hyphy is a little bit more happy.
You think?
Hype.
I think crunk is happy, but that's interesting.
Crunk is rowdy.
That's true.
It's rowdy. 3-6 Mafia, Master P. If you look at all of them, because that's all considered crunk, we will say.
Yeah, proto crunk.
Yeah, that's rowdy. But hyphy is like, they smiling. They like,
Well,
hey.
there's some chemicals involved, so.
Exactly, that's the difference.
So you could theoretically have like the same beats could maybe be in both, but it's what's happening on top. It's the delivery of the vocal. Like, what would you say, like lyrically?
No, I think crunk is just, we have strings. We have pianos. It's orchestral, but it's aggressive.
It's
and
dark.
It's dark, exactly.
Yeah.
Hyphy is more, it's happier. It's happier.
Now, that said, you produced on one of my favorite E40 albums, My Ghetto Report Card, and created, I think, one of the greatest hyphy songs of all time, Tell Me When to Go. So clearly you know how to sort of like create music that satisfies both contingencies.
Yeah, well, Tell Me When to Go came that's off of, I make my best music when the artist's in the studio with me. So that's just me and 40 hanging out for weeks and in the studio working on songs. And I didn't know about Hyphy from what I remember. I don't remember even knowing about Hyphy before 40 came to Atlanta and we just was in the studio working. And he started to explain it all to me. And I might have even seen like scraper videos where they riding around doing donuts.
Then the ghost ride the web, they jump out the car and jump back in.
He explained it to me. And the energy, for his energy goes through me and it comes out through the drum machine.
It's like this grinding. Some beats are just like the hardest ass beat of all time.
What happened with Tell Me When to Go, I was about to leave the studio. It was like 5 a.m. I packed my backpack and I was about to go. And Keek the Sneak, one of his boys, was in the room. And I was like, I'm about to head out, I'm about to go. He was like, tell me when to go. Tell me when to go. Tell me when to go. But they've been drinking and smoking all day. He's faded. He don't even know what he's saying. But I'm like,
You got the A&R ears.
what the fuck is that? I said, I'm making a song to that. And so I made the beat. I made the beat in 10 minutes. As soon as we did it, we knew it was a smash. We went to breakfast at like 9 a.m. at the Beautiful. We went to the Beautiful.
Oh, I love the Beautiful restaurant. Shout out to the Beautiful restaurant on Cascade.
We did this song in Stankonia, but we went all the way to the Beautiful to eat.
That's far, y'all. To drive from Big Boy Stankonia to the Beautiful restaurant.
Because we wanted to have a good breakfast and we just talked about what this record was about to do. This
And the
is about
Beautiful's
to
still
change.
there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
We was like, this is about to change everything.
I had a couple quick questions about just going back to the punk crunk connection. So how did you get into punk and how would you say it influenced your musical tastes and music making?
Punk is a major influence on me as a person, Lil Jon. I used to skate, and through skateboarding, in the 80s, before it was cool and fashionable and all that shit, it was not cool to be a skater in Atlanta, and black. Because it was not California, so they didn't understand the culture. They had never seen nobody riding around on skateboards. Atlanta in the 80s was more segregated. You had the black communities, the Latinos was over here, white people over here, boom, boom, boom. So being a skater helped me to be around kids of all ethnicities and be able to help me be able to identify, connect, and socialize with different kinds of people. Showed me the world was bigger than my little Southwest Atlanta.
How did you get into skating specifically? Like, where did that come from?
One of
for
my
you?
homeboys got a job at the skate shop.
Okay.
It was called Skate Escape. It's still there. You can also, people used to go there to rent roller skates and skate through the park.
That's why I was
and bikes.
Yeah.
So through him getting the job at the skate shop, we just kind of got into skating because that place was like one of the centerpieces when you were skating around Atlanta. You would stop there to get water, ice cream, snack, whatever. And they had a little area where you could skate there. So skateboarding opened me up, and then through skateboarding, it's the music.
Yeah, I was going to say, skate and punk, for people who don't know, because I'm from San Francisco and all my friends were skaters, the skate-punk connection is really important that not everyone knows about. When you go to a skate shop, they're playing videos, and those videos are soundtracked by, like, whatever, Misfits, Bad Brains, all the good stuff. So is that how you're hearing it?
It's from the skate videos, it's from being at the competitions, like, or going to, like, skate competitions. They would play reggae, they would play, like, I got on the Steel Pulse by skating, hearing it at different places. And so and then kids listening to different stuff. Somebody might have a boombox while you're skating. They playing
DRI,
Suicidal Tendencies or Bad Brains. Bad Brains turned into like one of my favorite bands of all time.
Bad Brains are one of our favorite bands of all time on the show. We've mentioned them probably every third episode, so I'm glad they're coming up again.
And I get to another story about Bad Brains, but I found punk through skateboarding, and it just, the energy of punk. So in the 80s, we had this one club called the Metroplex. It was an underground punk club, no liquor license, and I saw Suicidal Tendencies there. I think I saw Faith No More there. I think I seen Red Hot Chili Peppers there. This was when they had the Skinheads was around in these days too. Yeah. So it was like it was by railroad tracks. When I went to that club, that was the first time I seen slam dancing. I seen people stage diving and jumping from the fucking balconies and shit. And I'm like, oh shit, I was scared as fuck to get in the mosh pit. But you get in the mosh pit, you fall down, somebody pick you up. Yeah. It wasn't all violent.
There's a camaraderie, there's brotherhood.
Right. Yeah. People think it's violence in the mosh. That's not what the mosh pits really are about. Somebody fall down, you pick them up. It's just a release of like whatever you got going on in life, and that correlates directly to crunk. Crunk is a release of stress. We used to mosh pit. We used to jump off stages. We used to wild out, spray beer bottles, like just do wild, crazy stuff. And it's a direct, same type of energy.
Same energy, exactly.
as punk. Mm-hmm. And then like for me, Bad Brains, one of my favorite bands. HR is one of the greatest performers. He just would do the wildest, craziest shit on stage. So I see HR, and I want to do some crazy moves on stage like HR. So it's a direct connection from punk to crunk from my angle.
What are your top 3 punk songs of all time, do you think?
Reignition for me.
Yes! Bad Brains. Against I
We
record.
got to go Lit Street Bob. 3. Let's do Suicidal Tendencies. Institutionalized.
All I want is a Pepsi, and she wouldn't give it to me. All I wanted was a Pepsi, just one Pepsi, and she wouldn't give it to me, just a Pepsi. She would do it with my
Fun fact, when we were first talking about what to do on your episode, we were talking exclusively, we were talking about Ramones, Devo, I think you mentioned
B-52s.
B-52s.
Because Rock Lobster was my shit.
Rock Lobster is pretty great.
Dun, 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 dun.
But I like the breakdown towards the
party.
end. That breakdown towards the end, like especially if you like singing in concert.
Down.
Yeah.
Those are high school
They
dance
go
moments.
nuts. Yeah.
And that's a Georgia band, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
Oh,
Athens, Georgia. Shout out to Athens.
See, I'm pretty musically diverse. I think that's why I can kind of do all kind of types of music. I don't like to be put in a box at all.
We have no box for you here, John. No box. When you were walking in here, you told me that the song that we all Know and Love Is Get Low actually started off as a session in the late 90s. But then it doesn't even get recorded until 2002. What's the story there?
I made the Get Low beat because I love Party Up's beat. I was like, this beat is crazy. I want to make something like that. So me trying to do Party Up created the track.
I love
If
it.
you dissect the track, if you listen to Party Up, it's whistles and all kind of shit in it, and you listen to Get Low, listen to them back to back, and you'll be like, I see the influence now.
Now watch this, guys.
Now watch this.
Watch me do
Watch
this
the
live.
magic happen.
I'm gonna do this live. I'll do the same tempo and everything.
Woo! Y'all gon' make me lose my mind. Up in here, up in here. Y'all gon' make me go all out. Up in here, up in here.
But it's crazy how you were talking about you put different things on top of the music. It
Yeah.
changes the genre.
Right.
DMX is a rowdy club's New York song. Get Low is a twerk song. But it's the same kind of energy.
So obviously this is the big song off of Kings of Crunk. And I can't help but notice, depending on where you listen to it, it's either track 17 or track 19. Like it's way down there on the track listing. Did you know that you had a monster hit with this? Why is it so far down on the album?
Well, all of the Crunk songs and all of that was up front.
Yeah.
Normally you put the songs that you don't think are a hit at the end. But I don't remember if I knew it was a hit or not. I think I probably thought it was a. I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
But it started to like raise its own eyebrows.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to pay attention to it because it was making, you know, when you put an album out back in those days, sometimes people would pick their own singles. They were like,
Yeah.
this is the one I like. And you
They'd
have
fight
to
their
go,
label and then they'd eventually.
you got to go chase the single that, I mean, like the fans.
Oh, I see.
The consumers would be
Uh-huh.
like, we like this song.
Yeah.
In Mississippi, Alabama, and South Carolina, we going to play this one.
Yeah.
You know, we don't care about that other stuff they play. We going to play this one.
In this pre-social media era, how are you finding out that it's what people are playing? If it's not a radio thing, like what is the direct feedback from fans that you're learning that it's
I think just from
Big.
DJs. I think from
It is
DJs, and we might have had some of the songs BDS. It might have started popping up on BDS. I think
that's the
I think-
automatic monitoring?
Yeah, I think people used to put the whole albums in for BDS, and I think it started to just pop up, and we just had to chase it. And that was a year after the album was dropped.
That's crazy.
It took a year for that song to go, and then it just kept
Real
going.
sleeper.
It kept going for like 2 years.
I would argue it has not stopped.
Oh yeah.
Well, listen, when we get back, we're going to dive into the stems of this landmark song, Get Low. We're going to learn the etymology of the word skeet. And we'll reveal how this song has one of the most technically complicated scales out of all the songs we have ever covered on one song. I'm not even kidding.
It's true.
When we get back.
With prices going up on just about everything lately, dealing with money can be stressful. Trying to manage subscriptions, track spending, cut costs can really feel overwhelming. Luckily, Rocket Money can relieve some of that stress and help you feel confident in the financial decisions that you make.
Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings.
If you've got a goal you'd like to save for, Rocket Money can analyze your accounts to find the best time each month to put extra money aside.
Rocket Money will even try to negotiate lower bills for you. The app automatically scans your bills to find opportunities to save and then goes to work to get you better deals. They'll even talk to customer service so you don't have to.
Rocket Money's 5 million members have saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, with members saving up to $740 a year when they use all the app's premium features.
Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/onesong today.
That's rocketmoney.com/onesong. rocketmoney.com/onesong.
Welcome back to One Song. We're here with super producer Lil Jon. Lil Jon, walk us through how you created this song and where did it begin?
It was inspired by Swiss Beats production on DMX's Party Up. I'm inspired by that, going and create this track, and I sit on the track for a little bit, and I go in the studio and try to get a chorus to it, and I think I come up with the wackest chorus I've ever done in my entire career, and this is the first place anyone but the engineers and whoever was in the studio with us has heard this.
World premiere. Of the
And-
wackiest thing you've ever done.
Yeah, I don't even remember who is saying this lyric. It sounds like Kane, but then is it me? I don't know. But the original idea was "Let It Go." So it wasn't "Get Low." We didn't come up with "Get Low" yet. No. We thought "Let It Go" was a smash. No, we didn't think it was a smash. We were just, you coming up with ideas in the studio. We record this, and it didn't make the light of day. And it goes a little something like this.
Let it go. Let it go.
Oh, yeah.
Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go.
I think you made
Bruh.
a mistake. Huge
Listen,
mistake.
you recorded this in like 1999, maybe early 2000. You got this out before Daft Punk releases Discovery. I think you slept on yourself. That
Let me
could.
try to put it in the mix. You want to hear what?
Yeah, I
what
want to hear it
sounded
over the
like?
beat.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
So listen, this is what the song might have sounded like, because this is the original beat, the original sounds, but I'm going to mute the vocals on the final, and we would have heard this 23 years ago in the studio.
Let it go. Let it go.
It's starting to grow on me.
Let it go.
I think he made a major blunder by not putting that one out.
He's not convinced.
That is not it, man.
That's not it.
Like, it's crazy to go from that to the window to the wall. Skeet. So let's talk about how influential that's been in just like pop culture.
Yeah.
I was watching the other day, I had forgot about it. Chris Rock did a whole section of his comedy special about me and that part of the song.
The sweat drip from my ball. Skeet.
And then Dave Chappelle, talking about Skeet. You know
Of
what I mean?
course.
Like, it's crazy. We started with Let It Go and we ended up there. And then now 20-something years later, the song is still getting played in stadiums. And I'm doing shows every weekend, rocking 10,000 people, and they're going crazy.
I saw some old white politician actually use the word skeet, and I was just like,
yeah.
how did that become okay? It's only because that song was extremely popular and remains so. By the way, you also said during the break that Let It Go does sort of harken back to
Oh, it's very
Planet
like
Rock.
808 Planet
Planet
Rock.
Rock.
Planet Rock.
Yeah.
Just hit me. Just face the ball and hit me. Just get on
Arthur
down.
Baker kind of sound to that. It's like vocoder, but it might just be a flanger. Like
I
I'm
think
not
it's
sure
a
if it is.
flanger.
Yeah.
You're right. I
It's a
think it's
different
just like a
effect.
And
flanger.
you're an Arthur Baker fan.
Yeah, Arthur
Yeah.
Baker's the man. Like, his sound influenced like a lot of what I do.
Absolutely. The electros that we've been talking about this whole episode, the beats that you're doing are like electro rhythms with 808s, and Arthur Baker was a big
And
pioneer.
his
of that.
kicks and his 808s and his snares and his hi-hats, all of that is foundation still of what is in trap music and hip hop today.
So much of what defines Get Low is happening in the drum section. So I want to talk about the drums and the use of the 808 specifically. What can you play us out of the stems that is drum related, my man?
Well, so you're here and you can fill in the blanks on what we don't know, which is a lot. So to my ear, this sounds like these are 808 kicks and claps. Is that right?
808 kicks, claps all day.
All day.
I'm a
Okay.
big clap guy. I wasn't using snares.
Yeah, I haven't heard a single snare on anything of yours.
It's
as I've
something
been
about claps that give it a different feel.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was doing my production, I had other producers laugh at me like, you don't even use snares. And they don't realize it's a club sound.
It
I
gives
don't
it more,
know.
to my ears, it gives it more of like a bounce.
Snares are
Yeah.
heavier.
Yeah, it kind of
Claps
balances
are
the
just-
kick.
Yeah, it bounces off the kick.
Let's play and then we'll talk about it.
It just feels like the club.
Mm-hmm.
One theory that I have as we're listening and thinking about the difference between a snare or a clap, or you
Yeah.
can layer them, is that it definitely emphasizes the kick more, which is club. In the club, there's 4 on the floor for disco, right? The kick is more important, arguably, for club music than snares usually are, which can kind of balance out those two instruments.
Right.
This is the kick just seems more, it's heavier. It makes it
Yeah.
heavier because it's not being balanced by a snare.
Yeah, it's all the club. It's about the club feel, and Yeah, like I think the snare is just heavier. It's heavier on you.
Right.
And the clap is more like laid back.
And can I say, I think it actually might be maybe even subliminal or subconscious that we as human beings like to hear that clap.
Right. It sounds more
there's like
human.
there's a human there.
Hey, that's deep.
Yeah.
That's good, man.
Thank you,
You
man.
got a
I'm trying to keep
future
my
in this.
job here. It's the hi-hat. I feel like when I was listening to this for the purposes of the show, not the many times I've heard it before, I was like, this is one of those rare hip-hop songs where I feel like it's not driven by the hi-hat in the same way. Maybe I'm wrong about
It's
that.
the synth. The synth drives it. Bum, 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 bum. The hi-hat is just there to keep timing, I think.
As opposed to like, I think about like somebody like Lex Luger, who like, I feel like his hi-hat was
Yeah.
such the driving force of those Rick Ross songs around like
Yeah.
2010. Can we hear a little bit of the hi-hat?
Let's bring in the hi-hat. We got two. We got the closed, doing the eighth notes, and then open.
It's just a groove. That's a groove.
But then you also had the shaker, little syncopation.
Now you could actually put some funk on top of this.
You
It'll be a
could.
funk song.
Yeah.
Totally.
Because that syncopated, you added that syncopated groove with the shaker.
Right.
We've talked about shaker now. We always have these like groups of episodes where there's commonalities. Here's another shaker with the spine that makes the ladies dance.
Yeah, on the Next Movement episode, Axel Niehaus was like, the secret to Bad Boys hits in the late 90s was that you always put in like that little sort of like shuffle that.
But here it is again. Because up until the shaker was in there, it was a pretty strict, straight beat.
Yeah.
And now I've got a little bit of motion going on.
Yeah.
A little bit of
Little
syncopation.
swag.
Can you play what you just played? I'm obsessed with this idea that could have been a funk song.
Easy. It could have been a funk song.
All right, here we go.
But listen
Go
to
for
the
it.
groove.
Let's listen.
Yeah, the shaker is like the swag.
Yeah.
Just give it some swag.
Because if you take that out, it's still pretty awesome. But it just adds a little something extra.
Those shakers get to the spine of it all,
It's
don't
the
they?
spine. Axel Niehaus was right.
Well, he didn't invent it, but yeah, exactly. I think the point's made.
Listen, the simplicity of this track is a big part of what your genius is. That's hard to do.
Let's talk about the bass. What is the bass doing in this song?
So you've got a couple of different bass. You've got 4 tracks of bass, but they're doing
Really?
kind of 2 different things. Well, what I'm
Oh, it's
qualifying
two
as
different.
bass. Yeah.
It's two different sections.
Yeah.
right?
And I'm just saying in the range, sort of the frequency range of
Okay.
bassness, but they're doing a couple of different things. Here are the cellos.
Oh,
These are playing kind of the longer legato notes. Not quite legato.
and that's another thing you wouldn't think of on the hip hop track.
Cello.
He's got a fucking cello. The cello is on the hip hop track.
Well, just right out the gate,
Hey, Shouty, bring that cello over here.
just putting that against the 808s, you've already got this cool juxtaposition. I'll play that.
And that's just
already a
kinda
vibe.
accents.
Just the kick drum.
Because I think I did the strings first.
Okay.
I think I did the strings first, and then that was to go accent.
Oh, that's
accentuate
interesting.
the strings.
Should we play it in order that
Yeah,
you did it? Let's
yeah,
listen
try
to what
like
you
that.
actually did. Did you start with the beat and then go to the strings? So we're actually mapping your creative process here?
I don't know if I did the bum 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 first or if I did the strings first. Let's just see.
Let's just listen. So we have, it looks like 7 different synths here in the instrument section. They're doing 3 or 4 different things. Let's start with, I'm just going to start with the high plucks. Just 8th notes, like the hi-hats.
Yeah.
And then you have another pluck underneath it, like this. That's the one? That
Accent.
Dun-dun-dun.
Yeah. And it's crazy if you take it out of the track.
Yeah.
It sounds like it could be some classical music.
It
Maybe,
absolutely
yeah.
sounds like pizzicato strings. You can see a little quartet. Just
Went
like
down
a
to the
polite
Atlanta
little quartet.
Philharmonic.
Yeah.
We're like, hey, guys.
Interesting enough, back in those days of the crunk music and all that, we used the pizzicatos in every like crunk or trap beat.
Wow.
That was one of your your characteristic sounds.
Yeah, strings,
string
because
pizzicato.
they create drama and tension.
Tension. Yeah.
There's a 3rd string, which sounds like this. That's
That's the
hook.
main melody.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's the star right there.
Yeah.
And I'll connect them.
And everything is accentuating to that.
And then I'll bring in the lower cellos from before. So just strings right now. This is a string quartet. It's the
Yeah.
string quartet remix.
Until
Wow.
you added in that bass, It sounded like it could be like the soundtrack to like a horror film. Like it sounded like the killer is coming down the hallway with a knife.
Well, that's part of another distinctive thing I've noticed in your work, in your oeuvre of material, is the darkness that we kind of talked about earlier. It's not just the minorness of the melodies. Let's talk for a second about an interesting thing that you do in this song, which is when I was like trying to figure out like, what are the chord changes? Like, what are we doing? Like, what's the melodic? What's the journey harmonically?
Right.
Just because, as we've talked about across this show's 96 episodes, the chord changes are where you have some of the storytelling of a song.
Right.
The journey of a song. It usually starts on the home bass is the tonic, and then you go 1, maybe 4, 5, subdominant, dominant. This song does not have that. But your song does have a journey, and it does have a storytelling journey. So I just want to talk about for a second the chord changes you're literally using. It's a 1 to a 3, basically. So there's a C minor to an E. But there's something a little more going on because it's really sort of C minor and major. I'll play it for you and I'll explain what I'm talking about. These notes in the main riff, that's a major third and a minor third. What you've done is you've gone dun, 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 minor third, major third. And that's really interesting. And I couldn't necessarily find a single answer to what that is.
Were you thinking major third, minor third?
Well, you know what? I don't know. I'm not classically trained. And sometimes that makes it better.
Yeah.
Because even if you listen to I think the worm is a little out. But it works.
The worm?
Yeah, the worm is like the high melody in the chorus. But I think it's a little out. It's not. It's right in the middle.
Yeah.
Between
the
in
pitches
and out
of
key, right? And that's because I don't know classical, so I have to fit into that. Oh, if I don't do it this way, it's not going to be right. I just go off of feeling.
Yeah.
Just like Aretha Franklin and Stevie Wonder and the greats. Sometimes I think I heard Aretha Franklin or one of them say like, it might be out, but it sound good. It feel good.
That's
you know what I mean? To that context.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're saying this because not only do we strongly support that on the show, but we talk about that across we talk about everything from Roy Ayers to like, electronic music and
ironically punk.
To punk rock music, to blues, where a lot of what is sort of the European classical tradition doesn't really fit and the rules are wrong, but this music is our favorite music. We think it's better. Like we love Bach, it's great, it's fine, but I'm not pulling it up on my phone and listening to it in the car as much as I'm listening to your music and popular music and current music.
This man to turn Bach into a hip hop classic.
I love John Baptiste right now. The way he's that classical, the way he's flipping that, is insane.
Blending it all together. So just to sort of get to where what I think is happening in this song is that it is an implied Phrygian scale until you get to that major third. And I think it's a C diminished scale. I think you're playing a C diminished scale, but it could be a super Locrian scale. And it was fun for me to kind of come up with these theories. And the answer in music theories, it doesn't matter. It sounds good.
Or feels good.
And it feels good. And that's what it matters. But interestingly, using this kind of like classical academy language, you're doing really complicated, sophisticated stuff based on your instincts, which I really love.
Maybe it's in my ancestors somewhere did some of this, because everything your ancestors did is stored in you. Yes. It's in your DNA. You can unlock it, but you just got to figure out how to unlock it, or sometimes it just starts to come out.
So let's get back into it. The string quartet version of Get Low we've now played, which we got to make a string quartet remix of this song now that we've heard it like that. So there's also these synths in the higher synth section. I'll just play them one at a time and layer them. This one is the bell.
Happy. That's the happiness. And that bell is called childlike.
It is very innocent and childlike.
Childlike.
Naive.
Yes. Childlike bell. That was also a bell that was used in a lot of crunk tracks. Like because it's like you were talking like horror movie. Sound like the little kid is coming to get you.
It's like you don't believe the innocence.
The little kids
that little kid's going to kill you.
In the hall riding the little bike in The Shining. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, don't be fooled by that little kid.
Right.
The innocence is not to be taken seriously. And then you have the worm you're talking about, the worm sound, which is like a counter melody. I'll play it against the other ones.
And that's from...
I'll bring in the beats.
Yeah, when you bring in the beat, it just takes it to another level. It's like, wow. I think the straight hi-hat works with all of that music because the music is busy.
Yeah,
There's a
and it
lot
keeps it
going on
rooted.
musically.
It keeps it rooted.
Yeah, it's just let's keep on tempo here.
Yeah,
Keep it locked in.
The hi-hat and the drums trying to be all extra.
Right.
It would actually confuse things. It's
Right.
bringing everything to
It anchors everything.
it anchors everything.
And then finally, you have this whistle sound.
And that's trying to be like Party Up.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, totally. By the way, I just thought it was a whistle, but now I hear it and it sounds like
It sounds like someone's
a
hitting.
keyboard whistle.
It's a sampled
Yeah.
whistle because it's the same every time.
It's in the that's in the keyboard. That's in the Triton.
In
or
the Triton. One of
whatever.
the presets on the Triton
Yeah.
keyboard.
They had like a percussion section, and that's where. Like the whistle don't even need to be in the song.
Doesn't really need to.
But it creates energy.
Yeah.
It creates energy.
Something you just played was that horn.
I put all the bass content together. Let's double back to that.
Let's
now.
double back to that
Let's
because I
double
think
back
those
to that.
horns are important. Those feel like big tubas. You know what I'm saying? Like you feel like, oh, I'm gonna see the FAMU Rattlers, take the field and they're gonna be playing Get Low,
Right.
Okay, so let's build on the cellos from before. I'll bring in one brass,
That's a lot of instruments.
one layer of brass at a time. You got a lot going on here, but they're all working, they're all in unison. They're all doing, I think there's 3 different parts. So to your point, that's why they're not conflicting. They're not causing cacophony. So here's one of the brass parts. Playing a clave.
Yeah, that's
1,
marching
2,
band all day. That's all day
1,
marching
2,
band.
3. 1,
tuba
2.
like
That's your
that.
1, 2, 3. That's your classic clave rhythm, which is mirrored in this other bass brass line. And it sounds.
Yeah, I was
hear the
gonna say,
breath,
I
right?
feel like you hear the breath, but
Yeah.
that's definitely coming out of the keyboard,
But it's
right?
just
That's
sampled. But it's sampled from an actual
Of
brass
course, yeah,
player.
yeah.
That's probably the Trinity. I probably didn't have Triton yet.
Okay.
Trinity
That's another
or Triton,
Korg
one of them.
workstation.
Yeah.
Right. And then together with the cellos, and then I'll bring in some beats because we love layering. It's the best part, right?
That's also the groove.
So
Normally the horns drive,
Mhm.
but in this case, the horn is part of the groove.
Yeah.
That's
It's-
like Earth, Wind, and Fire. Earth, Wind, and Fire's horns were groovy, right? Weren't
It's
they
giving
horns?
you the syncopation against the anchor of the
Right.
strict eighth notes and the strict kick drum, like you're saying.
Right.
Yeah, it's where the groove is coming because that's the thing that's moving maybe unexpectedly.
It's kind of rocking back. It's like
Yeah.
the horns are like this.
Oh, totally.
Instead of like, ha!
No, it's that marching band thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's the clave rhythm. This is a Latin rhythm. It's the classic clave 3, 1, 1, 2, 3. Ba, ba. Like listen to bossa nova, you'll hear ba, da, 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 da. It's the same rhythm. So this is a Latin
You're
rhythm.
good. Damn, I never thought of it like
But
that. That's
this
a
Latin
bossa nova.
rhythm. Oh, I didn't want to get in the way of your compliment. Let me just stop talking for a second. What was that? What was that you were saying?
No, I never thought of that like that. That is the same rhythm because what's funny, I used to have a little keyboard and you could hit the different rhythms. It was
Bossa
like
Nova was always a
and-
preset, wasn't it?
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
It was
totally.
a little
On your Casio, right.
Yep.
You'd always hear it be like ding 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 ding
Yeah.
ding ding ding.
But man, I never thought of it like that. It is the same kind of dun 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 dun.
But these rich traditions are intuitive to you because you're
Yeah.
a music fan and you're a DJ and as you make music, you bring in that musical experience.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's most musicians that are outside of the academy. I'm not in the academy. I'm a punk rock, electronic music maker.
Right.
But when I do stuff, I figure out what it is later.
Yeah.
And I think that's true of a lot of pop music in general. So it's fun to break it down, but you don't need to know it to make it.
Right. It's just cool to know later.
It's cool to know
look
later.
back.
Yeah, to look back.
Yeah.
That's right.
I want to talk about these hooks because, as we sort of hinted at earlier, your songs, there's so many places that you can chant, you can sing along. It's almost like black pub music in the sense that like the way that the British will go out at 6 p.m. and get sloshed and have songs that they all know the words to. Like you go out to Atlanta, back in the days, we used to go to Buckhead, they tore all those places down. But we used to go to Buckhead and you would just go there and everybody would know how to sing dum dum dum. We straightened up for the last part.
Sounds like a nursery rhyme, right? Like, hey kids, are you ready to learn your ABCs? Here we go. A.
I actually heard that in the beginning of your creation that those dums were at the end of the song?
Yeah, so that was at the end of the song. That was like the vamp out. And my engineer, my mix engineer, Ray C, he chose to put it at the beginning. And I remember going to the studio to hear the mix. And I heard that and I was like, oh, man, that is crazy.
Great idea.
I was like, how did you think to do that? Like, why didn't I think of that? Like, that's amazing. That makes the song even catchier. It catches you from the very beginning.
It's the first thing you hear.
Yeah.
It's like, allow me to reintroduce myself. You know, like the first thing you hear is da-dum-dum, boom, drop.
Right.
And it's you know from the
iconic,
very beginning.
I thought it was genius. And I'm still working with him today. But that's just Kane and his crazy brain. He was just doing the nursery rhyme type stuff they were doing at that time. And that was his way of vamping out the song.
I think those dum-da-dums are in the grand tradition of Little Richard's Wop Babaloo Bap Wop Bam Boom, which also started off a great song. And there's just something about like just, hey, I don't know how to play no instruments, but I'm going to just do some instrument sounds. I have a lyric question. 369, is that an interpolation of the clapping song? Or is that just...
Yin Yang just came up with it. So here's what happened. We go in the studio. D-Rock gets there first. So D-Rock, me and the D-Rock are in the kitchen. And he was like, I got it. And he's like, from the window to the wall. Just like that. I was like, nah, that's cool. And then Kane, because I'm looking for this. Now, remind you, this is after Whistle While You Twerk.
A classic.
All of them kind of nursery rhyme hooks that they did, Yin Yang Twins did, I was looking for that. So I didn't like it. So I was like, just, you know. And then Kane gets to the studio and he's like, 369, damn cheap. I was like, ooh, let's take that part, use that first, and let's take the other part, use that second. That's the hook.
And then
Done deal.
Wow. That leads me to my next question, which is across this track, we got 10 or 12 different, maybe 15 hooks and lines. How do you decide the order, the sequence, the importance when you have all of these ideas, these vocal ideas?
Everything is about the feeling.
Do you record it in that order that we hear it, or did you record it maybe out of order and then you decide later, wait a second, this is the one to emphasize?
I think
as a chorus.
I knew that was the chorus, but I think they recorded separately. Like I think D-Rock might have laid his part first and then Kane laid his part. I can't remember. But I heard them separately, and I didn't get it till I heard Kane's part first, because that's what that was the missing piece. And little did I know that the window wall was going to turn into something 25
It's so much
later.
Bigger than damn near half the choruses that were written this century.
Why don't we listen to it? You want to hear...
I would love to hear you. You can play us the vocals isolated?
I've got the isolated vocals because this gentleman brought them generously for us to all hear and listen to together. This is that exact same section. I'll start with one and then layer it because across this song, we have stacks and stacks of vocal to get that crunk feeling. But let's hear how it was before I got crunk in the mix, right?
Let's get that crunk feeling.
Let's get that crunk feeling.
369, damn she fine. I'm hoping she can sock it to me one more time and roll, get low,
and I'll start layering
low,
it.
Low, to the window, to the wall.
Sweat drop down my balls.
My balls.
All these bitches crawl.
It has to be this tempo. The head nod, the head shake has got
There's
to
so
be
much
like
energy in that, right? It sounds raw.
This is what confounds me. Like
he is confounded.
If you think about where pop music is in this year, like 2003, the idea that a chorus like that is going to be right there with Britney Spears, I just don't think I would have had the force. I would have been like, guys, this is an underground club anthem. And I'm not saying you weren't setting out to do an underground club anthem, but like, it's just so weird how it worked out that this song now is just as likely to be played at an all-white wedding, you know what I'm saying, as any of that Britney Spears stuff.
It probably gets played more.
It gets played more than 98 Degrees.
It probably gets played more than Britney Spears.
That's what I'm saying.
In a wedding. Yeah.
How could you have ever known?
You didn't add my vocals on the chorus. Don't I have vocals on the chorus?
Let's do it.
Yeah, I just thought about it.
The layers.
Lil Jon ain't even on his own chorus? Damn.
Keep layering.
Motherfucker. I got down. Motherfucker. I got down.
Just accents. Just accentuations of their vocals. Yes.
Did your voice ever hurt? Like you ever like, oh God damn,
Only
I gotta
when
do
I'm
Seattle
tired.
tonight?
I'm getting sick. If I'm getting sick, my voice gives out. But I was just in the studio with La Russell yesterday, and my voice, they were just amazed at how I sound exactly like the songs. They were like, when I got on the mic, I was like, yeah! They were like, wow. Like, he really sounds like that.
Did y'all feel that? Because everybody in the studio went like this. It was like a different person showed up. By the way, you have so many choruses in here.
Tell me what to play next.
Let me see you get low, girl. You scared, which is the one that I like the most. Can I hear that one real quick?
Well, that's the verse, really. That's
I know, it's technically a verse, but I'm saying it could have been a chorus.
all right.
It could have been a chorus to a song called You Scared.
Yeah.
Shorty crunk, so fresh, so clean. And she fucked that question, been harassing me in the mind. This bitch is fine. I done came to the club about 50 times.
It's going to be the nose is like this the whole time. Stank face.
I have a question. I have a hard question. This is a gotcha question. 5011. What is the actual numerical value of 5011? Is it
Like over 100.
It's over 100, right?
Over
I was
100.
going to say 178.
It's just
That's
over
the number
100.
I thought it was.
178. Where'd you get that?
I have my sources.
It's just,
I'm not
we
revealing.
exaggerate. It's just an over-exaggeration. So
I was explaining to some people who
A
work
whole
at the
lot.
show. It's a whole lot. I was like, you got to understand that 5011 is not like, it's not even 5011. If
Right.
you said 5011, I'm like, narc. No, 5011 just means
It's not
hey,
5011?
it's a lot of time.
It's not
it's
50
actually
times 11?
5,011. That's what it actually means.
I actually told him it
5011.
definitely is not 5,011 because it could be just as easily, like you said, it could be 126 or something like that.
Yeah, it's over 100, but 50, if you break it down, 5011 means 5,011.
11.
When you hear verse 2, here's the thing. There's like 17 layers of you, but part of the fun is we're going to start small and then layer the whole thing. So here's just one
17 tracks of vocals.
of you. 1, 2, 3. I mean,
Well,
15,
it's me and the
16,
East
17.
Side Boys. So some we probably do that. We used to go in the mic together.
My mistake.
It'll
You're
be
right.
3 of us on one mic, and we record a bunch of tracks, and then I might go in and add
Right.
a layer just me, so it's clarity for some things, and then I think I might have layered like Bo or Sam by themselves too.
Absolutely. Of course, you're correct, as you would be, because there's 17 tracks, but some of them are you alone. Some of them are Sam and Bo and Lil Jon. It's layered. It's
And you
labeled.
want that clarity online. It's like, let me see you do it. You want that clarity. I appreciate that.
So let's start with you isolated, and then we'll bring Sam and Bo in.
All right.
Well, let me see you get low, girl. Drop that ass to the floor, girl.
And here's a bunch
Let me
of...
see you get low, girl. You scared. Drop that ass to the floor, girl. You scared. Drop that ass. Hey, say fast. Hey, put that ass to the left and the right. Hey, drop that ass. Hey, say fast. Hey, put that ass to the left and the right. Hey.
So
Back it up.
It's also a lot of tracks because we have the different parts.
Yeah.
Like
Some of them are just one word
we had a main
interacting
part,
with the other word.
then we have what we call crunk tracks.
Yeah.
Crunk tracks is hey.
So we hear some of those.
That's the people in the club when the car part's going hey. That's the crunk tracks.
I think I found the crunk tracks.
And
It looks like
backing
these.
tracks,
I can
you
see
scared, you scared.
I can see that some of these sound like what you're saying. So let's see if I can isolate them.
Hey.
And then there's these.
Hey, say, hey, that ass. Hey, back it up. Back it up.
Visual. It's visual. You see
visual.
the girl backing it ass.
You do. You really do.
Because we literally we wrote this like, okay, if we say this, what are they gonna do? Like that, but that's how when we first did Who You With, it did the same thing. When we write this, how are they gonna react?
These are instructions for the people listening. Directives. Do this.
Exactly.
Do it
Based
now.
on the visual vision that you're having while you're in the studio.
Exactly. 100%.
Before we leave the vocals, I just want to hear one part from the second verse from D-Rock. Now take it to the flow.
Now bring your ass over here, ho, and let me see you get low. If you want this dub, now take it to the floor. Now if your ass wanna act, then you can keep your ass where you at.
And if your ass want to act, you can keep your ass
You know
where
why
it
he
at.
said that?
Huh?
Do you know why he said that?
Here's my theory. He saw the coming of the TV and film industry to Atlanta, and he was like, if your ass want to act, keep your ass where it's at. He saw it coming. That's not right.
He's in the strip club.
Okay. Not what I was thinking, but okay,
He's in the
let's go.
strip club. If you want this dub, $20 to get naked in the strip
Oh.
club. You want this dub, take it to the flow. Sometimes the strippers will have an attitude when they come and talk to you to try to get a dance. So that's why he's like, if your ass want you gotta act, you want to act, you want to be whatever, have an attitude.
Yeah.
You can stay your ass over there. I'll get another dance.
Well, Get Low's influence can hardly be overstated because I would say from Screamo to all your EDM crossover work on not just like songs like Turbulence with our friend Steve Aoki, there's also this monster hit known as Turn Down for What?
Turn down for what?
I read somewhere where like that song has crossed the 1 billion mark on YouTube. Like,
yeah, I know we got 1 billion on YouTube. I think we got over the 1 billion mark on Spotify, maybe too.
talking about Get Low, John, what do you think is the legacy of Get Low? Why is this song so enduring?
I think it captures a time in people's lives where they were feeling good. The song is directly connected to good memories of them when they were in college, high school, or whatever. And the song has a good feeling, a good energy to it, and it gives us something to do. Window to the wall. And people just
Until
love to
sweat
sing.
drops. Yeah.
They love to sing the sweat drop down. Because in my show, when I perform it, I play the song once, and when it gets to the chorus, to the window, I cut it. And
The audience takes
let
over.
the audience sing. And they sing it loud every single time. And it just shows that, like, they love to sing the lyrics. Like, that's hats off to Kane and D-Rock for creating something that people are gonna literally sing forever.
Yeah. I like to think one day there'll be like when people put their phones or like a lighter up, and they'll be like, to the windows. Like, I like to think that day will come.
Are there any projects you're working on that you want to plug?
Well, I just finished Too Short's new album.
Mm-hmm.
That should be coming out soon. I worked with Lil Nas X recently. Gave him like 2 joints. I was in with La Russell yesterday. So we just started working. We did about 5 songs yesterday. We're gonna get in, do some more stuff. I'm working with some Southern Soul artists.
Wow.
I'm working with Tonio Armani. I just gave him a new song. I actually called Snoop yesterday. Was like, I got this song for your boy, man. So working with him and just whatever comes around, you know what I mean? And then EDM projects, they just popping up. Like, whoever called me, if I like the beat, I just jump on it.
I love it.
You know, so one with I just dropped with Hardwell and Sub-Zero project, A Brace for Impact, I think it was called. So I'm always doing those, but I'm like really getting back into my production real heavy. Working with Too Short recently, I just really dived back all the way into getting my production like even crazier. And before that, me and my son were working through the pandemic. We were just in the house, so we just do a bunch of beats together. And actually, RIP Beat King, he inspired me to get more on my beats. So me and my son did a lot of beats together. And then also, me and my homie DJ Chronic, we produced a lot of beats together too. So some of that stuff is on the Too Short project. And yeah, just more stuff to come.
Before we end the show, we want to play a game with you. It's called What's One Song? Here are the rules. We'll ask you a question, and you'll give us a one-song answer. Please answer as quickly as possible. Don't overthink it, all right?
60 seconds on the clock.
All right. What's one song that gets you crunk no matter what mood you're in?
Turn down for what?
What's one song that put Southern hip-hop on the map?
Southern Playalistic Outkast.
What's one song that you like to meditate to?
I listen to a lot of John Baptiste.
If you were DJing the big stage at Coachella, what's one song you would open your set with?
Shots.
What's one song that brings a tear to Lil Jon's eye?
None.
Nothing makes
That's
it
a great song. I love None. What's one song that changed the way you produce music?
I'd say, since it was on the subject, Party Up.
There you go. And what's one song we have to break down on a future episode of One Song?
Why don't you do Moments in Love?
Yes!
Ooh,
What a
great answer.
Great answer.
In 60 seconds, too.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Moments in Love.
Art and Noise.
Because it influenced so much.
Yeah.
So
And it
much of what we were
crossed
listening
so
to.
many genres. Like, that was played at black weddings.
Absolutely.
And on the Quiet Storm radio.
Incredible.
Like-
Made by these 3 British, like, classical music and production, people. Such an incredible song, such a legacy. And sampling pioneers, let's not forget.
I thought Art and Noise was black. I thought
Right.
they were up there with, Sounds of Blackness. I had no idea Art and Noise was 3 white guys from
Right.
the UK.
Because
And a white
of
woman.
the feeling of it.
Exactly.
It's the feeling. Some people don't realize music is all about feeling. And I think it's because the music now is lacking the human element. The
Yeah,
only human
sometimes, yeah.
element is the people on top. And even the vocals are freaking got effects on it to make them sound too perfect.
Oh, I didn't hear
You
any
know?
auto-tune in the stems of this song.
Auto-tune, yeah,
Yeah.
for example. So like back in those days, it was real live people playing. People don't realize when it's slightly variations throughout the time. If you play down a whole track, it's not gonna be perfect. And that's what makes it human.
Absolutely.
So the groove of the art of noise is everything. It's like the feeling it gives you. Like, how could they be British and understand this? What we feeling in America.
It's like Paul Hardcastle's Rainforest,
Right.
which is a song that a lot of black folks, would play on the slow jam. But like
Right.
we had no idea what he'd even look like. He's not even on the cover of the record.
Right.
Lil Jon, thanks for playing that game and spending time with us. Where can folks follow up with you? Where should they follow you on socials?
Man, you know I'm on Instagram and all that, man. Yeah, twin. You know where I'm at, twin. You know me on the IG, twin. Oh, my mama them.
See, that's why I didn't recognize you on the street, because that's a character that you weren't playing that character.
I know, you came up to him like, hello, Luxury. I'm really into your show.
just-
we
thanks
can
for
find
having
you
me.
at Lil Jon.
Yeah, Lil Jon. LILJON to be exact on everything.
Just 6 letters, y'all.
Yeah, pretty simple. Not little. Not little, no.
Not John.
And not JOHN, no. JON. LILJON. Yeah.
All right, you can find us on Instagram and TikTok. You can find me on Instagram at DIALLO and on TikTok at Diallo Riddle.
You can find me on Instagram at LUXXURY and on TikTok at LuxuryXX.
And you can also find this podcast at One Song Podcast on Instagram and TikTok for exclusive content. You can also watch full episodes of this show on YouTube and Spotify. Please do that. Just search for One Song Podcast. We'd love it if you like and subscribe.
Also, be sure to check out the One Song Spotify playlist for all the songs we discuss in our episodes. You can find the link in our episode description.
And if you made it this far, we think that means you like the podcast. So please don't forget to give us 5 stars, leave a review, and share us with someone you think would like the show. It really helps us keep it going. All right, Luxury, help me in this thing.
I'm producer, DJ, songwriter, and musicologist Luxury.
And I'm actor, writer, director, and sometimes DJ, but proud Atlantan, Diallo Riddle.
And this is One Song. We will see you next time.
This episode is produced by Melissa Duenas. Our video editor is Casey Simonson. Our associate producer is Jeremy Bimbo. Mixing by Michael Hardman and engineering by Eric Hicks. Production supervision by Razak Boykin. Additional production support from Z Taylor. This show is executive produced by Kevin Hart, Mike Stein, Brian Smiley, Eric Eddings, Eric Wall, and Leslie Guam.